This is the story of the real Spartans, not the buffed-up dudes with ridiculous amounts of gay sex written by Hollywood. But one day, a huge army was coming for them. When I say huge, I mean 100,000 strong. And when I say army, I mean an army. There were foot soldiers, there were archers, there were horsemen, they had everything. This was the army of the Persian king Xerxes. And the Spartans only had 300 men, which meant that every single Spartan knew that if they went into battle, they would die. But despite this, they chose to fight. Now you're probably thinking that this is some made-up story that only happened in a movie. But no, this actually happened in real life in the year 480 BC. That's before the Trojan War, by the way. The Spartans were led by their king, Leonidas, and they were facing the Persian army at a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. To be honest, it was a pretty hopeless situation. Their best chance was to try and sneak around the mountain pass and get behind the enemy. But when they arrived, they saw that the mountain pass was blocked by a wall of sorts. So there was really only one way to go forward. What happened next is one of the most amazing stories in all of history, because these 300 men held off 100,000 for 3 days. Now, you may be wondering how the Spartans even managed to hold off the Persians for a day, let alone 3. But the thing is, while the Spartans were vastly outnumbered, they were also incredibly well-trained and heavily armed. Each Spartan had a shield and a helmet made out of bronze, and they also carried 2 spears and a sword. On top of that, Spartan kings were required to be related to the royal family and also have red hair. So basically, if you weren't a red-headed royal, you couldn't be king. As for the Persians, they had a massive advantage in numbers, but they lacked organization, discipline, and training. And this is why, despite having a massive lead, they failed to defeat the Spartans. So the first day passes, and the Spartans are still standing. But what about the second day? Well, after the second day, the Spartans were still standing. In fact, they continued to fight until the third day. But why did they continue to fight? Well, it's because the Spartans were buying time. They were delaying the enemy long enough so that the rest of Greece could get ready to fight. Because if Greece had fallen, the entire civilization of the Western world would have been wiped out. And I'm not exaggerating here. You see, the Persians believed that the other Greek city-states would surrender immediately when they heard about the Spartans being defeated. But what they didn't know was that the Spartans had bought enough time for the other Greeks to prepare for their arrival. And this is exactly what happened. While the Spartans were fighting and dying at Thermopylae, the rest of Greece was able to build new alliances, train new soldiers, and hone their war strategies. And then, when the Persians arrived, they were met with fierce resistance. Now, this doesn't mean that the Spartans won. In fact, they lost. King Leonidas was killed in battle, along with many other Spartan nobles. But their sacrifice bought enough time for the rest of Greece to prepare for the Persian invasion. And without the Spartans, Greece wouldn't have been able to win the Persian Wars, which means we wouldn't be here right now. Now, there's a lot more to the story which we might cover in another video. But I wanted to share this story for 2 reasons. One, it's one of the most epic stories in all of human history. And 2, the Spartans were better than Hollywood makes them out to be. In fact, they were so much better than Hollywood Spartans that it's almost as if someone wrote the script for the movie 300 and then said, okay, now let's make the Spartans as stupid as possible. Seriously, watch the movie 300. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure the Spartans would have preferred to die at Thermopylae than have their honor tarnished by that movie. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.